Hello students, welcome to the online classes of Gopalswamy PU College, Mysore. I am Suma, Economics lecturer. In today's first PUC online classes, let us start the third lesson in part A, that is organization of data. In today's lesson, let us first understand some basic terms and then let us also learn about the frequency distribution. Let's get started with the meaning of organization. What is meant by the organization of data? Organization of data is the arrangement of the data so that it facilitates the comparison and further analysis is made possible. So, it is the arrangement of the data based on some common characteristics, or it is the arrangement or segregation of the data based on the sequences of common characteristics. I will give you an example to make you to understand this. In every cities in our country, you can see the local junk dealers moving in every area to collect the junks. They collect the broken household items, the metallic items, wasted plastic items, everything, and they by the evening they collect everything and they will go dump it in their shop or in a place, and there what happens, they segregate all these items based on their common characteristic. Like if it is a plastic item, they keep all the plastic items aside, and like that if it is copper item or metallic or aluminium item or wooden items, everything they set aside. The old newspapers are also kept as a heap in another side. So all these are done by him, and he organizes the junks that he collects from morning till evening, and he classifies them, and after that only he starts trading. He trades with them. So in this way we have to collect the data first through census method or sample method. We collect the data, and after collecting the data only we have to classify it. It is like just a lump of clay without any shape or identity. So after once we collect it and segregate it, it gets a definite classification. We get a definite picture about the data that we have collected. So before we move towards the learning of this organization of data in detail, let us understand some basic terms. Some of the basic terms are, first one is range. Range is the difference between the highest value of the frequency and the lowest value of the frequency. Let us understand the meanings of range and frequency with the help of this example. Here you can see a group of numbers. In this group of numbers, you can see that the maximum value, the highest number is 44 and the least number is 2. So, range is the difference between the highest value of the group of numbers and the lowest value of the group of numbers. So, here 44 is the highest value and 2 is the least value. So, 44 minus 2, that is 42 is the range of this frequency group. Let us understand what is frequency. Frequency is the number of observations it is repeated. So let us check about the number which is repeated in this group. So here we can see 12 is repeated once, and here it is repeated twice, and you can see another time it is repeated here. So 12 is seen 3 times in this group. So no other number is repeated in this group. So therefore frequency is the number of times that an observation is repeated. Here frequency of 12 is 3. So all the other numbers frequency is just 1 because they are not repeated on any time. The next one is class limits. When this group of numbers are arranged in different classes like 10 to 20 or 20 to 30 like this, the class limits are these two. We call this as the upper class limit and this one as the lower class limit. Here in this example, 10 is the upper class limit and 20 is the lower class limit. So the upper class limit becomes the left side, the first one, and the lower class limit is the Next one, the class interval. The next term is class interval. Class interval is nothing but the gap between these two numbers or the width between these two numbers. This is called as the class interval. You can see here there is a difference of 10 between these two numbers. So this is called as the class interval. The next term is class midpoint or class mark. Class midpoint or class mark is nothing but the average of the upper value and the lower value. Here the upper value is 10, upper class limit is 10 and the lower class limit is 20. So 10 to 20, 10 plus 20 is added and the average is taken. So 10 plus 20 is 30 and it is divided by 2 and the class midpoint is 15. The class midpoint or class mark is 15. The next one is variable. Variable is a quantitative characteristic that varies from one unit to another unit. It changes from unit to unit. It is a quantitative characteristic so that this variable can be expressed in numbers, that is in quantitative characters like the heights of the students, the weights of the students, the marks scored by students, the ages of the incomes of the group of people or the ages of the people in a particular group. All these are called as variables, as this is the quantitative characteristic which changes from unit to unit. The next one is attribute. Attribute is a qualitative character which changes from unit to unit. So qualitative characters are like nationality, religion, gender and also the color of the skin, etc. So these attributes are the qualitative characteristics. The qualitative characters cannot be measured by numerals but they can be classified. So these qualitative characteristics are called as the attributes. The next one is, here in the variable only we have two types of variables. The first one is discrete variable and the second one is continuous variable. So let us see about what is meant by discrete variable and continuous variable. A discrete variable is one wherein the number is individual. Here there is no continuity, but in the case of a continuous variable the number goes on continuing. A discrete variable is one where it takes the specified values within a given range. So it is limited or it is confined to one particular group. For example, the number of students in a classroom. So there is no continuity here. It is not going to be continuous. It confines to only one particular classroom, wherein in the another example is number of accidents in a particular city. It is not in general. The total number of accidents all over the state or all over the country is not said here. It is the number of accidents in a particular city. When we come to the continuous variable, it is a variable which takes all possible values within a given range. So here it is a continuous one. It is like income, for example, income of persons. Here the continuation of the data is seen. The next example is height of the students. So here the total number of students in a classroom, maybe it is just 40. So one number is here, that is discrete. So in the case of continuous variable, the height of the students, if there are 40 students in a classroom, then 40 individual numbers are mentioned as their heights. So it is continuous, and this is the difference between discrete variable and continuous variable. The next one is frequency array. So you all know that what is frequency. Frequency is the number of times an observation is repeated. Frequency array is the classification of data for discrete variables. So you all know that discrete variable is one which is not continuous. So the classification of the data for discrete variables is called as the frequency array. Before the data is organized, it is the raw data, or this raw data is called as unclassified data. So, when once the data is classified, then it becomes the classified data, and before that it is just a heap of the collection of the information. So, this unclassified data is called as raw data. So, when the classification is made, it helps us to compare the data and as well as it facilitates the future analysis. So, classification is the process of arranging the data into sequences and groups according to their common characteristics. As I said in the example of a junk dealer, that he segregates all the items that he collects from morning till evening, and then he classifies them according to their common characteristics like plastic, aluminium or the iron, etc. There are 4 types of classification. The first one is chronological classification, that is classification is made on the basis of time. The second one is spatial classification or geographical classification. The third one is quantitative classification, and fourth one is qualitative classification. The chronological classification involves time as the chief element. In the case of spatial classification, the data are classified on the basis of the cities, states or areas. The quantitative characteristics are kept aside and the classification is made on the basis of numericals or quantitative values. Then it is called as the quantitative classification. And the last one is qualitative classification. Qualitative classification includes the separation or bifurcation of the data on the basis of different qualities like gender, religion and the color of the skin, maybe the nationality, etc. So, chronological classification is the classification on the basis of time. It may be in an ascending order or in a descending order. For example, the growth of population based on year wise. So, as you all know, census in India is conducted once in 10 years. In the year 1951, population may be 30, it is just an example I am giving, population may be 32.50 crores, and in the year 1961 it may be 44.53 crores, in the year 1971 it may be 58.52 crores. So, it is just an example I am giving and these are not exact figures. So, here we have classified the data on the basis of time and it is in an ascending order. The number of years are growing in a ascending way. So, it is written in an ascending way. So, therefore, the data arrangement is made on the basis of time. Therefore, it is called as the chronological classification. When we come to the second one, the spatial classification, it is the arrangement of the data on the basis of geographical areas. So, let us see an example for that. In this example, you can see that at one axis we have mentioned states, in another axis we have mentioned the tons or yield of wheat in tons. So, in Punjab the yield of wheat is 52 tons and in Haryana it is 48 tons and in Karnataka it is 37 tons. This is just for an example I am saying. Here the classification is made on the basis of states. So, like this the data can be classified on the basis of cities, on the basis of countries and even on the basis of continents. The third one is quantitative classification. Quantitative classification is nothing but the arrangement of the data on the basis of quantitative measures or numericals. Let us see an example for that. Here in this example, you can see that in a class there are 50 students and these 50 students have scored the marks. Maybe it is in any of the subjects like English, Kannada or mathematics, anything. So, the number of students who have scored marks between 0 to 5 is 4. The number of students who have scored between 5 to 10 is 12 and the number of students who have scored between 10 to 25 are 34. So, this is the quantitative classification and the next one is qualitative classification. In qualitative classification, we can see the characteristics that cannot be expressed in quantities. Here, the classification is made on the basis of qualitative characteristics. The qualitative characteristic that is taken into consideration in this classification is gender. Here, it is classified on the basis of gender. The first one is male and the another one is female. Again, it is classified into married and unmarried, and here the females are also classified into married and unmarried. So, this classification of the characteristics on the basis of the qualities like the nationality, religion, gender, color of the skin, etc. is called as the qualitative characteristic or the attributes. Let us see about the objects of classification, or for what purpose the classification is made. The classification facilitates simplification. Here, a group of raw data is collected and after that it is classified. So, this unclassified data is called as the raw data, and when once it is classified, it is helpful for everyone to easily access. So, therefore, to facilitate simplification and briefness, classification is required. The next one is utility. Many people are in the need of these data for different purposes, like for research or for further actions and for even comparison too. The purpose of utility is the second major cause for which the classification is done. The third one is comparability, that is the data that is classified will help the comparability. So, all the data when they are classified, they facilitate the comparability, and with the comparison we can take future decisions. The next one is scientific arrangement. The data are classified in a scientific manner so that it can be easily understandable and they facilitate future decisions and help the governments and other different organizations to frame policies. The last one is it is attractive and effective only after the classification is done. So, when once the raw data is classified, it facilitates future analysis and it will be made attractive too. Effectiveness of the data that is collected will be seen only after it is classified. We all learnt about the classification, the types of classification as well as the purpose or the objectives of classification. Let us see about the drawbacks of classification. The first one is there is every chance for loss of information, because when once the data are collected and this unclassified data or the raw data are kept aside, there is every chance of loss of a very valuable information. It may happen due to many reasons. The second one is ignoring the exact observations. If the exact observations are leading to some problems or if they create some problem, and therefore there is every chance of the ignoring of exact observations. So, while classification of data is made, every observation should be taken into consideration, whether it is helpful or it may be even harmful also. But even then also the exact observation should be taken into consideration. But the major drawback under the classification is that there is every chance of ignoring the exact observations. The third one is after the classification is done, raw data are not shown. So, the raw data are kept aside or they are not displayed. So, here in the case of the classification of data, if for any further analysis, if we require the raw data, then they are not shown, because the classification is done, and when once the classification is done, they are kept aside and they are not easily available to everyone. So, these are all the drawbacks of raw data. I end up today's session with a thought for the day, and the thought is kindness is the language which the deaf can hear and blind can see. So, kindness is a universal language. Even if that person is deaf and blind also, he or she can hear the kindness and see the kindness. So always we should be kind towards everyone, because kindness is the greatest virtue of all. If we inculcate the habit of being kind towards everyone, towards every creature, it makes us only a humble one. So being humble is the greatest virtue again. Every small act of kindness reveals you as a nice person, and try to be a nice person. And with this I conclude this session. Thank you.